This is TJ with Tech Made Easy. Welcome to the channel. My channel is all about making things affordable, practical, and easy. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be debloating Windows. And we're going to use 3 apps for that. Technically only 2. The third one's an option where it removes Defender. I wouldn't recommend that, but if you really want to use Defender, I'm going to show you still how to do that. So when you have a fresh install of Windows 10 or Windows 11, your processes are anywhere between 140 and 150. Well, we're going to try and cut that down to 80 processes. Now, if you remove Defender, that'll even go lower, but we want to get that as low as we can. It'll also reduce your memory. So we're going to do this in 3 steps. The first step is to debloat or get rid of the unwanted Windows apps that come on the system. And we're going to use a program that makes that very easy, deletes them all at once. And once you do that, that'll reduce your processes down to about 120. Then we're going to use a program to go ahead and delete the telemetry and do some other tweaks that gets rid of some of your processes in the background that you're experiencing. And that'll get you down to about the 80 process point. That's usually where I stop, but if you want, you can remove Defender, which gets you down to about 60. Now, why would you do this? Maybe you're a gamer and you just want performance, or maybe you just don't want your computer running all these processes. Maybe you don't want the telemetry on your computer. Okay, so the one time I did remove Defender is to run Windows on this USB. Now, this isn't just any USB. This USB reads at 400 megabytes. And this is a Windows 10 utility USB that I created. And yes, you can run Windows off a USB. If you want to interested in how to do that, there's going to be a link below. And this Windows right here runs only about 60 processes. And I use it just to get into a computer really quick that maybe doesn't have an operating system on it, or there's something wrong with it. I want to take a look at it. Maybe the hard drive has crashed, whatever the reason is that you want Windows to go. The link will be down below. But like I said, I went ahead and stripped all the bloatware off of this, all the telemetry and Windows Defender. Now, a disclaimer: I am a Linux person. I use Linux as my daily driver, but once a week I do have an app that is only on Windows, and so I run Windows in a VM, and I want my Windows as streamlined as possible. Eventually, I want to be able to just use Linux 100%, but for right now, that's how I'm accomplishing that, and it works great for me. But I'm happy with the performance that it gives me in my VM, and I think you'll be happy with the performance of your computer. It'll just operate a little bit smoother, a little bit better. So let's get started. Okay, so here we have a newly installed version of Windows 11. Now we're running 146 processes. Look at the threads, 23, almost 2,400 threads. Handles is 63,500 basically. We're running almost 5 gigs of memory. So let's go ahead and let's debloat this. We're going to do this with 3 different applications, and they're all point and click, easy to do. The first one here is O&O AppBuster. And we're just going to download this. Now, some of the things that I'm doing here, you can actually go in to Windows and do them one by one. This is just a quicker way to delete some of the apps that you don't want. And then we're going to go to ChrisTitusTech tool. And I'm not going to go over the whole thing. I'll leave a link if you're interested in seeing everything that tool can do. What we're more interested in is really getting rid of the telemetry that Microsoft has in there, just to make our system less bloated. And so what I'm going to do here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this file here. And so what this file does is go ahead and searches for all the apps that you're running, puts them in one place. It makes it real easy to start uninstalling apps. Now, I'm going to uninstall some apps that I don't normally use in this case, and so I'm going to leave the app installer there. That you'd want to keep. This Clipchamp, I don't need that. Cortana, I don't want. This Dev Home, I don't want. Now again, you don't have to delete all these. I just don't need all this stuff. I'm going to actually leave these 2 here. But the mail and calendar, I don't need that. Microsoft, now just so you know, this program does not delete Microsoft Edge. There's another way to do that, which I'm going to show you in ChrisTitus's tool. And so I don't need the Microsoft News. So this is the thing about Microsoft OneDrive. I think one time I tried deleting it when I was deleting a whole bunch of apps, and the system hung on me. And so some things I would say delete everything all at once, and then other things I'd say leave it
and delete it next. OneDrive is one of those. Microsoft Edge is another one of those. So right now I'm going to skip OneDrive, but I am going to go ahead and take it off. I don't need Microsoft People. Again, you might want Microsoft Photos. And this particular, I'll leave Photos on there. That doesn't matter. I don't need Solitaire on there. I don't need sticky notes, tips. You know, and you may not want to delete all the stuff again that I'm deleting here. So I don't need this movies and TVs. Anything I use VCL or something else. The weather. Notepad I'll keep. Obviously I don't want to delete my drivers. This Office I don't need. I don't need Outlook. And if you want, you can keep Paint. And just so you know, all of the I don't need this Quick Assistant raw image extension. No, I'll keep that. I'm going to keep the snipping tool because I do use that sometimes. The Store Experience Host, yeah, I don't know. I might get rid of that. But so I don't need, in this particular one, now the Windows Calendar is handy. You can keep that, but I don't need the Windows Camera on this one. I don't need the Windows Clock, the Windows Maps. I'm not going to use the, again, I'm not keeping the Media Player. And again, this is all up to you because this is not deleting. You only want to delete the apps that you absolutely don't need, because even though I'm deleting a lot of apps, it doesn't free up a ton of processing. When we get to ChrisTitus's tech program, that one will give you the biggest experience there, or the biggest boost in process performance. I don't need this Windows Voice Recorder, this Web Experience Pack. Now you might want to keep the Xbox stuff, but I'm not keeping it here. And again, like I said, to leave these things, it doesn't eat up a lot of RAM or a lot of process or RAM or whatever you want to call it, but it will eat up some. And I don't need this phone. In fact, let's just leave the Xbox stuff here, and see by leaving that. We'll leave that installed because, you know, if you're gaming, you may want to keep that. So we'll just leave that in there. Just go ahead and hit remove, and I'm going to remove it from the whole computer, not just for the user. If you have multiple users and maybe they want access to some of those, you could do that. But most people, it's their computer. They're not having a ton of people sign into it, unless maybe it's a family computer. But you just hit yes. Hit yes here. Now it's saying it's asking if you want to make a restore point, which that's up to you. I don't usually do that, so I'm just going to go ahead. Now this will take some time because we are deleting a lot of apps off of here. After this is done, I'll reboot the system and show you where we're at as far as processes. Okay, so now this has deleted everything, so I'm going to close this, I'm going to reboot, and we'll come back. Alright, so I also went, after I deleted those apps, then I went ahead and deleted OneDrive. So I've rebooted the system, and you're going to see that we're at 114 processes, and we were like 147 before, close to 150. The threads are down that we're using, the handles are down. I think the handles we are at 63,000 or something. And so we're using a little less RAM. As you can see, before we were almost using 4 gigs of RAM. Now we're using 3. Now, one of the things that helps also in the performance of your PC is just to go ahead and put your update on pause, because you don't need to update on all the time, and it actually is always looking, and it's always there. Now, see how I resume updates? That's because when you go in here, there's going to be your updates right here. The pause the updates, and you know, maybe you can pause your updates for 2 or 3 weeks. Now this is the thing too, if you just pause it for a couple of weeks, you don't have to remember to turn that on. It'll automatically come on, and then it'll go ahead and give you the updates you need. And now even going into the update section, now I'm up on my processes a little bit, but that will help your processes too, is putting your updates on pause. Alright, so now the next step in this is what we're going to do is we're going to go to ChrisTitus's GitHub page. Now you don't have to install anything here. It just runs a script in PowerShell, and what this program does is this is going to take away a lot of telemetry services that Microsoft has, and I haven't turned any of that off on this system. It's a fresh install with all the telemetry installed on there. And so, but all you have to do here is on this web page, and again, all these links are going to be in the description below. But all you have to do here is go down here, and you're going to do a copy and paste. And it's just this command right here, and you just hit copy. You do have to run this in PowerShell. If you've never done that before, you just type in POW. So here's our PowerShell right here. We right mouse click on it. We say run as administrator. We hit yes, that we want it. Okay, once you're in PowerShell, you're just going to paste that command in there, and then it's just going to go ahead and load this program up that Chris has written. All right, so once it does that, you just let it do its thing, and then it'll pop up this application right here. And anyway, so, and it'll keep this window open here as well, but you just need this window here. Now, the reason why I have you use the other program to delete your Windows programs is because what ChrisTitus has done is he's put a lot of programs and utilities in here, not for deleting off of Windows, but also for installing on Windows. And so the first time you see this is a little overwhelming because not all of these programs are in Windows. He's just made it convenient for you to go out and install a whole bunch of programs at the same time. And not all the programs are going to be in here that you may need. But what we're looking to do is we just want to go to tweaks. And so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this program because we only need the tweaks part of this. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do the standard tweaks. You just click this here. I'm not going to worry about creating a restore point. You can do that if you want. Now, all these things do here is just going to do temporary files. It's going to delete telemetry, your active history, game DVR. If you don't want to delete that, you don't have to. It's going to disable hibernation, home group, and you may want to keep home group if you got a network. I'm going to go ahead and unclick that. But there's a lot of stuff in here that you really just don't need, and so and you can click on these and see what they are, and you can click off of them if you don't want those on there. Now, one of the things that is on here that we're not going to do is remove Microsoft Edge. Like I said, it's not a good idea. OneDrive and Microsoft Edge, I would only remove those one at a time because I have had problems with the system freezing trying to get rid of those. Okay, so down here is advanced tweaks. If you have Adobe, maybe you want to debloat the Adobe stuff. You can do. I'll just do that. I don't have any on here, but might as well click it on. And then you can disable Microsoft Pilot here. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to disable the notifications in the tray. I'm going to do that. Set display for performance. I'm not going to really do that. It doesn't help a ton to do that. But I want to set it so when I right mouse click, it gives me like the Windows 10 menuing system here. I don't like the Windows 11. If you like the Windows 11, then don't click that. And then I'm going to hit this here. I'm not worrying about this dual boot thing. I'm not removing all the MS Store apps. We've already done a lot of that with the other program. And then I'm not removing Microsoft Edge yet. So we're just going to go ahead and run this, and we're going to reboot it, and we're going to see the difference in processes that it's running. One thing I am going to do over here on the right, you can turn the dark theme on. These don't delete any things. These are just things that you can go in your settings and turn on and off. It just makes it easier to turn it on and off here. The only thing I'm going to do is I don't want, let's see, taskbar widgets. I'm turning those off. I don't want those. The other stuff, I don't really care about the other stuff, and that depends on you. But this section here is really the section that all you need to do to concentrate on here. So before we hit run tweaks, I just want to go into updates here. So what I usually do is I'll put in just security updates only. I won't delete all updates. That's obviously not recommended. And I don't want to keep the default updating out of the box, so I will hit security updates, and we can do that now if we want. But what's nice here is in this config section. So one thing that I want to just talk about here, you can go into your auto log. You can set that up to auto log automatically if you want. I'm not going over these in details. The thing I want to show you here is this section here, legacy Windows control panels. Oh, I love this part here, and so I use this a lot. It's kind of a shortcut to get to some of those things, because Windows 11 kind of buries all these simple things that used to be easy to get to, that now you've got to go through all these layers to get to them. So this is kind of nice here. One of the things that and then it's got, again, I'm not going to go over all these, but let's go back to tweaks here. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to create a shortcut. This is actually a great program to have. Actually, when Windows does an update, then some of these things might come back. And this is the whole thing about Windows that I don't like. And I mentioned that I do run Linux. And with Linux, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Yeah, when you do something, you don't have to worry about it coming back. All this tweaking, you install it and put whatever apps you want to run on there, and you're done messing around with this stuff. But so you may have to go back into this. You may even have to go back and delete some of the apps that you deleted before. And I may have mentioned that before, but let's just go ahead and run tweaks. So behind the scenes here, it's just getting rid of all those programs, running all those tweaks. You don't have to just clean up. I probably shouldn't even done that because it's a fresh install, but maybe there is stuff to clean up there. So this will just take a few minutes. Okay, just so you know, if you run that disk cleanup, it will take a little bit of time to do the disk cleanup. That's the thing that takes the longest. But in here, it's telling me that it's freed up some space now. This is a 2 terabyte drive. You just hit OK, and you'll see here on the side here that tweaks are finished. So we just hit OK here, and now we're done. We can now just close this. And I'm going to reboot the computer, and let's see what our processors are. Okay, so now what I've done is I've gone ahead and rebooted the computer, and we're at we're hovering high 70 processes. But look how many threads we went down. We're now at 19, almost 2,000. We're at half the handles we were at before, or literally almost half. And now memory, we're still using memory with Windows. It's going to use Windows 11 is more of a memory hog than Windows 10, and so it's just going to have those processes in the back running. Now let me just show you. I'm going to show you what happens when we turn the update on, because you will see this go up here. And if you're a gamer, I would pause those updates while you're gaming and then just resume them back. So I'll hit resume back, and it's going to check for updates, and if there's any updates or security updates, it's going to go find them. But like I said, you can just go in here and you can pause the updates maybe for 3 weeks, and then it'll turn on and it'll update, and you'll have your latest updates. So it's not crucial to have those on all the time, especially if you're looking at performance out of your computer. So let's just go ahead now and see. Now the processes have gone above 70, and now we're in the 80s. Just pausing your updates actually helps the performance of your system, and our handles have gone up now as well. I think, but it's not that big a deal. So now this is the thing. I'm going to show you now how to disable Defender. Now I'm not going to go in the registry because, again, I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. Me personally, when I'm running a VM, this is all I do at this point. I will pause the updates in my VM for as long as I need to. Because I'm only on my VM once a week, I might pause my security updates for 7 or 8 weeks, however long. Windows 10 allows you to pause them longer than Windows 11 does. But let's go ahead, and I wouldn't recommend getting rid of Defender unless you absolutely hate Defender and are going to use your own. But I'm going to show you a way to use Defender that's really easy. The first thing we've got to do is we've got to go into Defender itself, because we're going to turn the securities off. So we're going to go ahead and go to Virus and Threat Protection. We're going to go down here to Virus and Threat Protection Settings, and we're going to manage the settings. And we're going to just turn these off for a minute, because unfortunately the app that we're going to grab, Windows thinks that it is a security risk, and it won't let you download it. And so, and if that scares you, then don't do it this way. You can disable it in the registry, but this just wipes it off the system totally. And so let's go ahead and go to that website. Okay, so this is the program we need here, Defender Remover. And then it comes from this GitHub page right here. This tells you what the script is going to do. But it's basically just a script that it runs to get rid of Windows Defender. So let's just go ahead and download this now. And it's going to say, hey, it was blocked. We're just going to say, keep it. And show more. Keep anyway. And now we can open this file up. So you'll notice I had to click over here on the right. It really doesn't want you to run this file. We're going to run it anyway. I think it doesn't want you to run it because it knows that you're trying to get rid of Defender. And so what this does, though, is it just opens you up to the script window. And I'm going to go ahead and close everything here. And now what we're going to do, I don't want to remove everything. So when it says remove Windows Defender antivirus and disable all security mitigations, we don't want to remove all security mitigations. That's like your firewall and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just interested in removing Defender only. So you just type in A and it'll go ahead and remove that. Again, this is not recommended unless you're planning on your own virus. Now I did it on my utility. I have a Windows disk utility or a USB thumb drive that I use, and I don't need Windows Defender on that because it's just something if I want to quickly get into a computer that doesn't have an operating system on it, or something's wrong with it, I just load that up. I'm not connected to the internet. So now once we do that, let's go ahead and see how far our processes drop. Okay, one thing that I didn't do originally is I didn't remove Microsoft Edge, and he says it's not recommended, but you're going to want to download whatever browser you want to use. Once you do this, you can also install a browser in his install section here as well, and it'll actually ask you if you want to download Firefox once you do this. But I've already downloaded Google Chrome, so I'm going to go ahead and run this. If you absolutely hate Edge, then go ahead and take it off this way. Okay, once it gets to this point, Edge is removed, it's done. But again, just so you know, not everybody has to remove Edge, but if you just absolutely hate it, then just go ahead and use his program to do that. The other program that I showed you at the beginning will not remove Edge, even though it says it will. Okay, so now that we've uninstalled Defender, let's look at how much processor we're using. We're down to 63. I'm not saying there isn't more stuff that you can do to tweak Windows to get it less processors than this, but these are the easiest methods to do. And when you're only running, say, in the high 70s and low 80s on the process end, and your threads and handles have gone almost half, that's pretty efficient for me to run Windows with. And especially in a VM, man, I have no problem running Windows in a VM. I just wanted to show you the two easiest ways are those two programs that we talked about. The one that gets rid of your apps, and then ChrisTitus. Really, the ChrisTitus tool really helps in gaining some performance back on your Windows. Anyway, this is TJ with Tech Made Easy. Hope that was helpful. Have a great day. Thanks.
Now that was easy peasy.